Welcome to Breaking Big, where we interview people about their careers in the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Erin Newmeyer. Everyone here at Thunder Tally Media is so excited to announce that we are being featured on the Hoo Ha Ha app under the Podcasts We Love section. They are on a mission to spotlight and support women in comedy. One of the ways they do that is by amplifying women's voices, like this podcast. If you haven't already, go check out the hoohaha.com website. There's so much great content there. That's where you'll find my podcast and all the other shows featured under the Podcasts We Love section. And now I'd like to welcome you to Breaking Big. Hey there, and welcome to Breaking Big. I'm your host, Erin Newmeyer. We tape the show on Friday the 13th, which is a lucky day for me. My birthday is on the 13th, but this will actually air on January 18th. This episode will be broadcast on camera to our Thunder Tally Media pages on Facebook and our YouTube channel. So you can go check that out if you're listening to audio only, if you want to see any of the things we're talking about or the videos or pictures. It's also going to be on Stitcher, which now offers a video option. So let's get started. This is the one with Ashly Covington. She's a hand model, photographer, and a voiceover artist. You can literally walk through any store and you're going to see Ashly's hands on everything from product packaging for Reynolds Wrap, the book covers for Eat This, Not That. She has poured bottles of Miller Lite, picked up slices of Pizza Hut pizza, squeezed lemons and limes, and she's opened Yummy Jello. You've seen her perfectly manicured hands in magazines like Cosmo, Woman's World, In Style, and O Magazine, and on TV holding Pepsi, McDonald's, and Campbell's Soup. Her hands have also filled in for celebrities like Alicia Silverstone, Brooke Shields, Charlize Theron, Elaine Irwin, and Adriana Lima, and Andy Samberg. In addition to all this, Ashly also works behind the lens as a professional photographer. Wow, welcome to the show, Ashly.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. Boy, do I have a lot of questions for you. And I don't think hand models get the kind of celebrity and appreciation that they should. So we probably have a lot of people that are going to be curious to hear your answers. So how did you get started?
Well, I was a child actor, theater major in college. I was on the course to becoming an actress. That was all I had ever wanted to do. And then one of the first agents that I went to see after school told me to literally forget my head and focus on my hands. And I thought she was crazy. I was like, I'm here about headshots. And she said, no, I don't care about your head. You've got to go get a manicure. And I said, oh, no, I've never actually had a manicure and I'm a nail biter. So that's okay. Just send me to your best headshot photographer. And she said, absolutely, you're not. Your hands are where it's at. You're getting a manicure and you're coming back here. And then I had a job 2 weeks later.
Wow, that's amazing. She's a genius.
And the craziest thing is I call my mother after that first job and I say, hey, Mom, you're never going to guess what your theater major daughter found to do. And she said, oh, yeah, I know about that. Your grandmother used to do typewriter ads back in the 40s or something like that.
No
and
way.
I was like, what? And turns out my grandmother had worked at an ad agency in New York that did the Remington typewriter ads. And she had the prettiest hands in the company. She was a secretary and they used her hands for all of the ads. So I guess I'm a legacy hand model and I never knew it.
That is amazing. I love that. That's so amazing. So this industry is really fascinating to me. Because I do some photography, I've tried to dabble in food and stuff. And there's all kinds of crazy tricks when it comes to that, the milk in the cereal bowl is glue or whatever. So I'm kind of wondering, what was that like? How did you get started? And are there any tricks of the trade?
Well, mashed potatoes are used for a lot of things because mashed potatoes will never shrink under hot lights. So that's one of the other tricks that food stylists use. But that's the thing, in doing a hand commercial, especially a food one, there are so many skilled people on that crew. The food stylist, like I couldn't do it without the food stylist. They are masters at making these dishes just look incredible. They're also incredible cooks because I've gotten to taste a few things that they've made too. And it's without them, nothing would happen. And so my hand is basically there to take the hero product and pick it up or pour it or set it down and just make it look as scrumptious and as amazing as it can without pulling focus away from it. So I'm kind of a secondary player to the food. The food is the star.
That is, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of surprised that the food tastes good because I feel like I've heard so many tricks, like I said, where things are subbed out so that it's looks like it's real food. Like when you said mashed potatoes are used for things, do you mean that they're like shaped into looking like something else because they don't shrink, or?
Yeah, like lasagna. So the whole center of like a thing of lasagna could just be made out of mashed potatoes so that it'll always stay the same size. Because there are these huge lights that are putting out so much heat that are throwing down on everything, and it's got to be made of a consistency that it's going to hold up for hours. And if you just had a regular lasagna there, it might not last so long. Now the edges of it where I'll cut will all be perfect, and actually the lasagna, but then the center part of it might just all be mashed potatoes. You never know. They've got tricks.
That's funny. That's one I did not know. I love that.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of questions, and actually, I told people I was interviewing a hand model this week, and they had a lot of questions for me to ask you. um,
Excellent.
so, so I'm wondering, how do you take care of your hands? Are you like the clip we just saw pop up of from Zoolander, where?
Absolutely. I have hyperbolic chambers for both of my hands, and I walk around with red velvet pillows. No, I do have gloves. I wear gloves a lot of times. They're just little black cotton gloves, but that's to protect against sun, protect against how many times do you hurt your hand in a day when you're just like, you brush up against something, somebody with a ring hits you, like that sort of stuff. Like that's what gloves will protect again. And then my number one thing is moisturize. And I use extra virgin olive oil. Moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. I use this stuff 20, 30 times a day. So that's the key to it.
Wow, I feel like you maybe just gave away like the top trade secret there.
I have used extra virgin olive oil on my hands for like 20 years now. And I started using it on my face about 15 years ago. So it
Wow.
works.
It looked like it was a special little bottle, not the kind you keep by the stove. Is it for hands or?
Oh, no, this is just travel. So this is my
Oh.
travel bottle, and I literally pour this stuff from the kitchen into it.
That's great. That's like how like coconut oil is supposed to be good for your hair,
Oh, I love coconut oil. Yeah, but it was, I got sick and tired of having a regular bottle of olive oil in my bathroom and guests coming over and being like, why do you have olive oil in your bathroom?
Are you preparing our meal in this room?
I am. Well, no, because I don't cook. I only cook for camera. So I can precision chop, slice, dice, julienne, do all of the things for camera, but I don't really do it in my own life.
That's awesome. Well, so I guess what I'm wondering is like, do you have a little routine? Like, do you get a manicure every week or like only right before a shoot? And I mean, because we're always dabbling. I have my 14-year-old daughter and I are always like doing our own nails, but it's like don't look too close because like these would not be hero shot fingernails.
Ah. Well, I have perfected doing a manicure on myself over the years. God, my mom's going to kill me. I got so much practice on her toes. So when I was first starting out, I used to give her pedicures all the time just so I could practice. And every time I go home to visit, I have to give her a pedicure. That's like the thing now.
That's sweet.
I know, it's like our friend. I paint her nails red. She likes them red. But I've practiced and practiced, so I can do my nails myself and keep them up. But every time there's a job, I'm always getting a professional manicure beforehand. And I have a few manicurists that are the only ones that I will use, in different cities. I have certain ones in LA, certain ones in New York, certain ones in Richmond, Virginia. Those are the three main places where I work. And those are the ones that I trust with my hand. I've gone to random manicurists before and have had scary experiences. I like to stick with who I know. And then sometimes they'll have manicurists on set. So for a lot of the beauty shots for OPI, for Maybelline, for L'Oreal, they're going to have a manicurist on set who's going to do the nails specific to what the client wants.
I think you might see a manicurist that is a friend of mine in Los Angeles. Chantalyn? Am I saying that right?
Shanti, she's
Yes.
the best. Chantalyn, she is
Yeah.
the manicurist to the stars. She's been doing my nails since 2007, I think. Forever. I adore her. She's done my nails in parks. She's done my nails in cars. She did my nails in the parking lot of a grocery store one time. Because
Wow.
I got a last minute job, because the jobs for this come up. Like, I mean, I could get a booking right now while we're talking where I have to be in New York tomorrow. I just never, ever know. And I had gotten a job and it was for the very next day, and they needed a very specific manicure. Like, they needed this color that's very hard to actually paint. And I called Shanti and I was like, girl, it is 9 o'clock at night, but I just got a call. Can you save me? And she's a savior. She met me in a parking lot of like Vons or something like that and did my nails.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, she is
I
a
love
lovely,
to know
lovely
her.
person.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. It's so cool. And yeah, we get to give her a little shout out, so that's fun.
yeah. Yeah, she's
um,
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was wondering too because you're talking about needing certain colors and things, and there's like gel manicures, and then there's like those pointy nails and that kind of stuff. But it seems like most of the pictures that I saw is just kind of a clean cut, shorter nail, natural polish for them,
Yeah.
unless it's for a nail polish company.
Correct. And we call those, so basically in hand modeling, there's two types of hand modeling. There's fashion hands and there's mommy hands. And fashion hands are the ones that are like doing the beauty ads, and they're going to be a longer nail, generally shaped and nice, usually oval. Unless pointy nails, that's going to be an interesting, like a fun ad, something off brand, like not too mainstream. But mostly fashion nails are the longer nails, and the mommy nails are the short, nice and rounded, clean, natural nail polishes. And I keep a kit, and I take a kit with me to set that probably has 30 plus different colors of natural polishes, so that if the client needs if they want it pinker, or if they want it tanner, or whatever types of things they want, I can make the adjustments on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky because my nails grow really, really fast. So my agents know if they give me 2 weeks notice that I can grow out my nails to fashion length. But normally I keep them sort of middle of the road so that I can go either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, excuse me. What happens if it's like do you ever have to do like fake nails or gels or anything like that?
So
Because I know those damage your
yes,
fingernails. So
gel nails are very damaging. And I
Mhm.
have gotten I got a call a couple months ago for a job from my agent, and they wanted gel nails. And so I talked to my agent to find out why they wanted gel nails. And it was mainly because the client gets gel nails for themselves. So that's just what they thought a good manicure was. And when I explained why I would prefer if we could do it a natural nail, they had no issue with it. I've had fake nails put on, but they usually put them on using denture cream. So they'll put like denture cream on my nail and then put the fake nail on it, and then that's how it'll stay. So if they have to do extensions or any lengthening, they usually use a fake nail, but not put on with glue, because I get booked because of my natural nail. Like I have, there's no imperfections on my nails. So that is one of the reasons I get the majority of the work that I get. So I never get gels.
Good genes, good nail genes.
Got grandma's nails.
um, so I know that you have like special skills we were talking about before the show. There's like names for things like culinary knife work, cheese pulls, mush push. What can you tell me what some of those things are and what that's about?
So a mush push is, when you see a burger, and it's either the burger sitting here and then the top of the burger is placed on, and there's a little push, and the yumminess of, the lettuce and the mustard and the ketchup move just a little bit and you see it, or you're picking it up and there's a little bit of a squeeze. So all the yumminess moves a little bit. The camera would be over my shoulder and I would be picking it up. I'd have my head out to the side, get my head out of the way. I have to contort. I'm a contortionist. That's the number one trait for being a good hand model. You got to be able to contort, get the head out of the way. So my head's out of the way and I'll pick up the burger and I'll bring it up to camera and I'll do a really gentle little squeeze and it'll make everything just look absolutely delicious. So that's a mush push. Cheese pulls are like pizza. When you see the pizza being picked up and you see that beautiful cheese just stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. So that's his cheese pull. And those, you have to pick it up at a certain angle, at a certain speed, and the cheese has to be a certain temperature for that all to work. So it's sort of like this little dance of choreography, which I think is what kind of makes it all interesting, because it's not just like, oh, I'm picking something up and I'm setting it down. It is choreographed to a T, because if I'm doing a set down, so that's like, what's the one I did recently? Setting down a Pepsi. So setting down the can of Pepsi. If I set that down a 16th of an inch off its mark, it's out of focus. So that's one of the things that people, when they're like, oh, you're a hand model, oh my gosh, you wear like really pretty rings and you do this, that, and the other, and that's so easy. And it's like, no, it is precision work that is attention to detail over and over and over, that comes through muscle memory and learning how far your arm is going out and stuff. So it's all sorts of, it's well beyond just holding my hand up.
That's so cool. What's funny is the film that I was in that just came out a few weeks ago called Divorce Bait. The main character in the film is a hand model. So there's a whole storyline about like her doing these hand model, and like, she stopped when she had kids and then she wanted to get back into it. And then there's a Black character that has a condition that I'm going to forget how to say it. I think it's vitiligo, where you don't have any pigment. So he's like a Black character, but one of his hands is white. And so he's like really sought after because he can do like both things. He can basically get double booked to do 2 jobs in the same day and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really funny. And they have a whole scene where she's like scooping up something for the photo shoot, and she's like got to be like balanced behind this board, and she's like trying to hold the food the right, all that stuff. So yeah, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. It's a thing. Like when I first started out, I got a full length mirror and I used to sit in front of that mirror and practice pouring and practice picking things up, because there are times during jobs where I get covered head to toe with a white sheet and I can't even see my hand. So, because they don't want me to reflect in the chrome or whatever it is, or I need to bounce more light back. So they can't even see me. So I have to know how my hands look when I'm not even looking at them. And it sort of, so I'm a geek. I like that sort of stuff. I just practice and practice and practice pouring. And also I have to be able to pour with my right hand and my left hand. And I'm right-handed. So I had to learn how to do everything with my left hand. I recently did a commercial where I was cutting steaks and I had to do it all with my left hand instead of my right hand. So you really have to learn to become ambidextrous to be.
I definitely could not do that. Like look natural doing it with my left hand.
Years of practice. Like I've literally just sat in front of mirrors and practice.
What about handwriting? Do you ever have to handwrite with your opposite hand?
I have been practicing writing with my left hand for the last 1.5 years, and it's legible now.
That's good. So we have some photos of some work you've done that I want to show. We have this one where your hand is wrapped around a snake, and I'm really curious how, like, it looks amazing.
Yes. I love the finished product.
Yeah.
I do love that finished product. That shoot was one of the most terrifying shoots of my life because I have been petrified of snakes since I was a small child.
So it is a real snake.
Yes, that's a real snake. Yes, absolutely. And I was given no warning. My agent called me and said, do you like animals? And I said, oh my gosh, yes, I love animals. And she's like, are you good with animals? I was like, yes, I'm fabulous with animals because I love animals and I'm great with animals. And I love all animals. I do not consider snakes animals.
They're reptiles.
I know. And the thing is, I showed up for that shoot, and the first thing I saw when I walked in was this most amazing, tiny little baby tiger. And I got so excited. And I wanted to climb into the pen and play with that baby tiger. And it was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. And they had to drag me away. And they're like, no, 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 sorry, sorry, sorry. That's not your animal. Your animal is over there. And when I looked over there, all I saw were really long rectangular boxes. And I couldn't figure out what could possibly be in a long rectangular box. Well, they had about 5 different snakes.
Wow. So
Mhm.
did you feel a little bit like Indiana Jones, like dropping into and be like, why did it have to be snakes?
Oh, 100%. And for that shoot, so my arm was kind of like, I'm trying to get where you can see me. So I was kind of like this, right, with my arm on a desk. I put my head down and my arm like over here.
But it's
While
like
it
moving in your hand, you know, so you can't like pretend you're not there.
was squeezing, it was tightening. And then the funniest thing is the photographer, who's an incredible photographer, he came over and whispered in my ear, he goes, I'm really scared of snakes. And I said, I am too. And he said, oh, no, 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 you can't be. I've already told the client that I'm scared of snakes, so we both can't be. So I had to pretend I was fine with it. So I also feel like that was my finest acting moment of my career, is pretending I was fine with it. But the funniest thing, you're going to die about this. So I don't know, they're taking pictures and I'm dying inside. And then they say to me, the client says to me, he goes, okay, we've got an idea. What we want is we want the snake's head to be right in the center of your palm and for it to stick out its like tongue and go, sss, and then we'll have the picture and we'll be done. And I'm like, okay, Mr. Snakey, can you please stick out your tongue? I'm not a, what? So now I'm a snake charmer.
Did they
Uh,
not have an animal wrangler there that could do
they did.
that's somebody's job.
Yes, they absolutely did, but they couldn't be that close to where the set was just because of the
Uh,
setup, so they were just like, "Oh, well, you can tell the animal to do that." And I'm like, "I don't think snakes listen."
I don't think
They're
so
telling a
either.
dog to sit or a cat to come here, like, those animals cooperated with me. They worked with me in the ad. Like, "Yay."
That's
But
so
we
funny.
got the shot, so they were very happy,
Oh,
and
and it's so cool. So the snake was really in that position, sticking its tongue out because it kind of looks like an impossible photo.
yeah, yeah,
You
I
know, it's
know.
so perfect.
I I I'm shocked. And it
Wow. Yeah.
it's amazing, but yes, I was there, so I do know that snake was wrapped very tightly around my arm, squeezing and squeezing
Do
and
you know what breed it was? It looks like a
black
black mamba
black
or
and
something.
big. I don't
It
know.
was the breed of large
Yeah,
and
breed of
scaly.
large, petrifying, scary snakes. That's
So we
the
have another picture. Maybe this one wasn't as terrifying for you, but
okay.
you're holding a pomegranate fruit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. This
So
is
I know that this is kind of like your, you know, your calling card
it
photo
is.
now. So like how did this happen?
This happened, this incredible photographer, Willie Nash, gave me a ring and said he had this idea for a really cool picture. And would I be willing to come play with him for an afternoon? And I was like, absolutely. So we went there and for this picture, I'm behind a sheet of that paper with that backdrop in front of me, and they'd cut a hole through it. So my hand's sticking through there and
Mm.
sticking up with the pomegranate. And then they had a makeup artist come in and paint all the blood and, or the pomegranate juice. I shouldn't say blood. Sometimes I look at this picture and think it looks like a heart, which I kind of love.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it looks like too. And like
Oh, you
like for
too?
people that are just listening, I mean the pomegranate is cut in half, and I don't know if you've ever cut a pomegranate fruit, but they are messy. And
Yes.
so this looks great. It's like all drippy and shiny and wet looking.
Yes, they are. And then you can't see the nails really well, but there were sequins all in it. The manicurist, her name is Machina, and she's out of New York, and she is phenomenal. And she put all these little sequins all over the nails, and like it was a cool picture. And then I was very fortunate. Willie gave me a copy of it, and he was like, "Here, you can use this." And I think it ran in like an Australian magazine, half the time I don't even see where the stuff goes.
Right.
That's the one thing that's weird. People are like, "Oh my gosh, you get copies of everything?" And it's like, "No. I wish." I scour for it, and then sometimes there are really amazing photographers who share, but oftentimes I don't, but that's my favorite picture.
Yeah, I love it. I think that is so cool. And then so I know you mentioned that you hand double for people. So I
Yes.
know I'm trying to figure out when are the case where if it's like somebody's butt, your butt doubling, you'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing this scene. Nobody's seeing my butt. So I'm trying to figure out at what point is it like, no, my hands are not doing this.
Okay, so when you see a fashion ad and it's got the supermodel with the hand
Mm-hmm.
on the face, or like pulling back the lip a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Oftentimes, it's not their hands for a myriad of reasons. Number one, I can't go below a certain weight or my hands start to look really bony. So my
Oh.
agents get mad at me if I start losing weight, because then the hands are the first thing to show age, the first thing to show strain, that. So supermodels are very slender, and so their hands may not look like the rest of them. Some of them look amazing, but some of them, they need a hand that looks comparable to their face.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll bring a hand model in, which is always funny because it's me standing behind them trying to hide with my arm coming up and onto like their face, but I'm like behind them and twisted away and my arm sticking up. And then I've got to like put my finger in their mouth or on their lip and like pull it. So it's like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm gonna stick my fingers in your face. What's going on? So there's that. And then there's also for like TV commercials, when I'm hand doubling a celebrity, it's oftentimes because the work is so tedious and so about hitting the marks that they're worried about so many other things. Like they need to do their scripts, their lines, they need to, be in their glam chairs, and then they'll have me come in and do the part where it's like, oh, I'm picking up the thing, I'm setting down the thing. And you think that hand is attached to that
Mm-hmm.
person, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So they use it, and it's also, I'm a lot cheaper
Mm-hmm.
than,
Mm-hmm.
XYZ celebrity if they need to, go and keep me longer, to keep doing these tedious sort of shots. And instead of using them, they come in, they
Mm-hmm.
do the stuff, they're wrapped, they're sent home, and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll keep going with the hand model. So it's sort of
Okay.
it's a twofold.
So then how did you end up doubling for Andy Samberg?
That was a spoof ad. So it was for his comedy group, the Lonely Island. And so it's three members of it, and they were all sitting around a table, and one of them had a gorilla arm on, and they're all in like really nice suits and really dressed just to the nines. And one of them had like a gorilla arm on the table, and then the other one had another male hand model who's known for being the hands on the Tina Fey book cover. So
Oh, yeah.
so he has really
Bossy
long,
pants. Yeah.
yeah, and he has really hairy arms, and so is his arm, and then I was Andy's, and I had really beautiful long red nails that were coming up. They were just resting on his face. So I had my hand in his button down white shirt jacket coming up at the side, and all day long I'm bent down behind him with my arm around his waist, like perched on an apple box to keep from falling over, and like just holding on tight so I wouldn't fall over. Yeah. And he was
Oh,
so funny and so nice.
that's hilarious. My look, we're big Brooklyn Nine fans here. So when my family hears this, they're gonna die.
I have spent an afternoon with this hand on his face.
That's so funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. I also know that you're a photographer,
Mhm.
and I was wondering if that ever came in handy.
Handy?
That's my pun for the
Well,
day.
yeah, I love it. I love
Mm.
it. I always lend a hand. That's my common fun. Um, so photography, my dad put a camera in my hand when I was 6 years old, and it's something that I just absolutely fell in love with, but never really thought about it being a job. Sort of like I never thought about hand modeling being a job. I fall into random things. And with being on these sets with the best photographers in the world, I was just learning and absorbing so much. And then also with the TV commercials, sometimes I'm sitting and holding for 10 hours waiting to come out and do my little like blip or drop or pick up or whatever I need to do. So I started taking every photography class I could find online, and I would just use my time to sort of study and perfect something else that I loved. And then it slowly started turning into a career. I would have friends who were actors and they'd be showing me headshots and I'm like, we can do something better than that. Let's rock this out. And then it evolved into me shooting on sets, which was really cool. And that was neat because it kind of used all the skills that I had been taking classes in. Because when I was on these sets, I'd take classes in food photography and product photography and portraiture, landscape. So I had this wide range of photography skills, which worked really well when you're shooting on a movie set, because sometimes they need pictures of props. Sometimes they need portraits of the actors. Sometimes they need the wides of the scenes. So I was like, oh, wow, look, the last 10 years of doing this on set has prepped me for doing this on set. So it's kind of cool the way it works out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually, when I was looking through your stuff, I had seen this. I think you said you made a flip book out of it, but there's this like fortune cookie gift that you did. And originally I kind of thought, oh, she's a photographer. Maybe she did this herself. But then here, let's play it first and then I'll let you explain.
I love it. This is my favorite. This is taken by an incredible photographer named Jeff Saxman, who was very influential in helping me get started. He basically put me through hand model training school and taught me how to get my hand out of the way and do all of this stuff. And I was trying to think about a creative way of advertising what I was doing. And so I was like, oh, flipbook would be really neat. And I talked to him about it and he was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's put it together. And so he shot all of that, because shooting your own hand is actually very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard. I've tried.
Yeah, I was imagining like a timer or so, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I don't know, some like for iPhone, like the iPhones now, or maybe it's an iPhone, but there was something where you could like set it up to like do a voice picture, you know?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I
I'd
need
have
to
to
get
look into
into
that.
tech.
Maybe I'm making that up. Ooh, business idea.
Oh, and I don't think you're making it up, but I'm just not very techy. So
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't always trust my my memory on things, which is why I have copious notes. So thinking about advertising yourself, I
Mhm.
noticed that your handle is Hand Model USA. How genius is that?
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah. How did you score that that like tag?
I when was it? This was around, it must have been around 2002.
Mm,
So a long time ago, I was trying to think like I need it because my name is okay, Ashly Covington. Love my name. Thank you, Mom. Love it. It is a unique spelling, and everyone puts an E in my first name, and I am Ashly with no E, just ASHLY. And I couldn't really use Ashly Covington as my handle because everyone would spell it wrong. And
right.
so I was like, I have to come up with something else that I can use for all my marketing that will be very easy for people to spell and that they won't even have to think about. And I was like, hand model. And then I was working all around the country. I was doing shoots in random Florida and upstate New York and California. And I was like, oh, hand model USA. And it was available. And it was available on all the platforms. So I was like, okay, great. That's worked. And it's been, I guess, 20 years now as my handle. Yeah.
So I guess we can say, you know, Ashly Covington, hand model, photographer, and marketing genius.
Yay!
That's amazing. Well, that is so great. I wondered if there was anybody. Usually, towards the end of our show, we like to say, you know, our thanks to people who, you know, maybe helped us out along the way. Do you have anyone you want to do a shout out for?
Well, giving thanks is like the only basis for any life. Like you have to say thank you for everything. You wake up in the morning, you've got to say thank you. You know, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've got an apartment, thank you. Food, thank you. I I am so blessed to have had the mother that I have. She is phenomenal and she taught me early on the value of money and the value of saving, because the thing about hand modeling is it's a roller coaster. You don't know when the next job's going to come. You could have a really amazing job and then not have another amazing job for, you know, a few weeks or a few months. So you really have to know how to budget, and that's something that my mom drilled in me when I was very young. And I do not think I would have survived in this industry for the length of time that I have survived in it without that type of knowledge. So that's crucial. When you get a big payday, you don't spend it all. You save it for your rent in the low times.
That's so lovely. I mean, I feel you. My mom is amazing, and I've got 2 kids, and I don't think they think I'm amazing right now, but maybe later they
They
will.
will, yes,
Yeah, so
'cause you are.
No, thank you, thank you. I'll take it.
Yes.
But you know what? I just realized we forgot to roll. I wanted to play your demo video. I meant to do that right
Sure.
at the top. So let's play that really quickly.
Let me tell you something, girl. Got a tight hold. You gotta hold on. Yeah, you gotta hold on me. I've got nothing to go on. You got exactly what I need. I don't mind to take everything you give. You gotta hold on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot. I skipped right over that. I think my page break on my notes was in a bad place. But wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
You know, this
fun.
reminded me of one other little question I had because the other day I was volunteering at this cat rescue and I was playing with kittens. And so, of course, I'm like all scratched up from them because they're kittens. So, like, do you ever get to play with kittens?
So I have 2 cats.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yes, and it's kind of crazy, and I love cats, and I've always had cats since I've been a kid. Uh, my cats seem to know, and they don't hurt my hands, but I do avoid probably playing with kittens. Like, I worked on this movie that was filmed in it was like a cat cafe, and they had all these kittens, and I was dying. I just wanted to pick them all up. Like cats, I mean, but kittens, they scratch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been blessed with the cats that I do have because I don't know that I could go through a life without cats. But it is something because if I get a scratch, if I get a cut, if I get something that I can't hide, I'm out of work.
Yeah. Which is crazy because like Angelina Jolie has like tattoos up and down the wazoo and they can cover that. So somehow, so it seems like
Yep.
because like I got this little scratch. I mean, you probably can't see it on the video, but when it happened, it was nothing. Like it didn't even look like anything until 2 days later. And now it's like this bigger, longer red. I'm just like, what the heck?
Neosporin, put it on it right away.
Oh my goodness. Kittens are the worst and the best.
But I do have a go bag with me at all times with stuff like that, like Neosporin in it, so that if something does happen to me, I'm instantly applying some sort of like healing
Oh,
salt,
that's smart.
to it. Yeah, I have
Very
to.
smart.
Yeah.
And then, oh, you said you also had some other little tricks and things that you bring to set, like if you have to work where it's hot,
Oh, yes, indeed. So, like, imagine commercials that have a steak sizzling, and then you see the herbs like coming down, but the steak is sizzling in the flames. That happens a lot for like Outback commercials and things like that. I have this nifty sleeve, dun 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 dun, that is a fire sleeve. I can put this on my arm, and my arm can literally go through flames. So my hand will be out doing the sprinkling, but then my whole arm is, let's just put it on, is covered.
Oh,
So the
wow.
flames can be coming up, hitting here, and then I'm sprinkling over the steak here. And you don't see this part in camera. You may only even see the sprinkles. You may not even see my hands, or I might dip my fingers down so you get them in a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And this was given to me on set, actually, on a commercial that I worked where I had to do that. And they gave it to me. They told me it's designed for astronauts or something like that.
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
even know where you get these, but it has been in my kit ever since. And then the other thing that I always have are I call them my bug glasses. I know it's cool in these, but these are so that I can see through the lights, because oftentimes they'll have huge 10K, 20K lights that are bearing down on the product. And if I'm pouring into a glass, the glass will disappear if I'm just looking at it naturally. I won't even be able to see it in the light. And so I put these on so that I can see, and look really cool.
That's amazing. And it sounds like it's really hot too. Like I would be dying, like sweating.
It is. It can get really. Sorry, my one of my cats is having a sneezing attack. I don't know if you can hear it, but it gets so hot on set sometimes. One time, the top of my head started smoking, and I didn't even realize it. And a props person ran in and started beating the top of my head out so that I wouldn't catch on.
Wow.
Come on, kitty.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad my head didn't catch on fire.
Yeah,
Hey, but anything for the shot, right?
There you go. Shout out to PAs who save yourself on these on set. Thank you, PA.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that was Justin Props who saved my head from
Unsung heroes. Well, great. I'm just so glad that I was able to get you on the show today. And such a fascinating topic. Thanks for sharing all your industry secrets. If anybody wants to reach out to Ashly, I have my notes here somewhere. Here we go. Let's see here. Thanks for joining the show, Ashly. I'm really happy that you're here, honestly.
Me too.
That's my really sincere gratitude to you right now.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am going to drop all of the links in the show notes. And if you want to keep up with Ashly, you can follow her at Hand Models USA on Instagram. And then her Facebook is at Ashly Covington. Remember, no E in Ashly. Ooh, I had a little rhyme there. And she also has websites of the same name. So if you're looking for a hand model, you know who to go to. And we'll see you next time. Well, that's our show. We hope you loved it. If you did, make sure you're subscribed. Tell your friends about it. Why not write us a review? If you know someone that would make a great guest on our show, drop us a line. You can find us on Instagram at Thunder Tally, or go to our website, thundertally.com. This show was produced by Bex Francis, edited by me, Erin Newmeyer. The music was performed and written by Dylan Newmeyer. And our sponsor is Filmcraft LA, so make sure you go check them out. This has been a Thunder Tally